Good morning. This is Laura from Healthy Carnivore. So, anybody that's new here, I'm just going to recap real quickly. Um, did keto for 28 years, did very well first 26 years, 2 years at the end where keto treats were introduced, really got sickly, lots of adult cystic acne, joint pain, anxiety, depression, all the things. I still have OCD, but I call it the cleaner version that you would want your nurse to have. Um, I am also a registered nurse, been a nurse for over 22 years and been carnivore now for over 5. So that is my background story. So I want to go over, so today I'm going to bag up some products. I'm writing them out and getting them ready to go on my little baggies here. Um, I'll show you. So this is the Peace body soaps. I have those. And then what's on my thumbnail is the rosemary vanilla shampoo bars. So I had, and I'm sorry, I do not remember exactly who it was who requested that, but they did want rosemary vanilla, and I thought they smell pretty good, so why not? So I actually made it quite a large batch of those. So the other thing I want to go over today is I just got back from Ketopalouza 2024 from Louisville, Kentucky. And I have to say, beautiful city, beautiful state. Indiana, we live in Illinois, so we went through Indiana. It's a beautiful state. I could live in either state um, versus where I'm at. But here we are living the dream, right? So anyway, I'm going to go over some of the highlights of what I my takeaways were. Um, I didn't sit through all of the speakers. I think that's a little bit of my ADHD-ish. I just don't want to sit still for that long. So I got up. Plus, I took my husband. He didn't go to the Keto Palooza part. So I felt like we needed to go do like sightseeing stuff as well. So we did do that. So we got to see a lot of stuff. It's a very interesting town and a lot of history. Love Muhammad Ali. Did finally get to go to that museum. We went to Louisville Slugger, and we went to the Fraser Museum, which is all about I think bourbon making and plus people who have been around. So any of you, I'm not sure if you watched. I did try to live stream as much as I possibly could of Dr. Barry. He was the last speaker. It was a little shoddy because their Wi-Fi was in and out. So I know if people were listening, they're probably like, "Hey, it keeps cutting out." I did the best I could. Um, I even tried to do my hotspot. It was not having any part of that, unfortunately. Travel pad. Good morning. Good morning. So it was kind of funny. So at this event, I mean, it was huge. So until I got home and I started putting stuff, a little bit more stuff up online on Facebook about it, because I didn't really want to announce to, every thug and criminal that we were out of town until after we were within a couple hours of getting back. But it was funny. So many people that I followed on Facebook and YouTube, I didn't even realize they were there. It was so many people. I mean, I was fortunate. I ran into some people there. Um, I want to give a shout out to the main people that I really kind of spent the most time with, and that would be Sandra from Passion Speaks, um, Russ Mitchell from Homesick Buckeye, that would be Brett from Hoosier Carnivore, that would be Charlie, which he's Darth Carnivore. Trying to think of and Nurse Kim. She was there. She lives in Kentucky as well and drove down and stayed a couple nights. She's amazing in person too. I love her red hair. Of course, I was born a redhead, so I'm partial to redheads. Plus, she's a nurse, so we could speak a little nurse talk. Which my husband was like, "Oh, I knew as soon as I saw her sit down that she was a nurse." I'm like, "How do you know that?" He goes, "I know." So it was kind of funny that he thought that. Good morning, Karen. Yes, yeah, we made it home. No shade on my husband, but he is a very slow driver, and I'm sure that's safer in some instances. But when you're on an interstate and everybody's going 85, it's not really safer to be doing 60. So I did drive. And my only request to him was talk, make sure I'm staying awake because if I'm driving for 7 hours, which it was a 7-hour drive to and from, I will fall asleep. And so we kind of pride ourselves on we don't just take interstates to any place that we ever go because you miss out on, these little towns. You miss out on a lot of these things that people have kind of forgotten about because they're in such a rush to do everything. And I'm always in a rush to get things done, but I do still enjoy doing these little secondary, highways, state highways, um, county places, things like that. Excuse me. We do like to do that. So, so we took that. So that took a little bit longer, both ways. I could have got there in like 6 hours and 10 minutes or something by taking the interstate. And people are rude on the interstate. Let's just be honest. Like, first of all, I'm a girl that can change my own flat tire. But it is nice if somebody would pull over and be like, hey, I'll give you a hand while you're trying to put these on. I mean, my husband would do it if he was with me anyway. But on the interstate, ain't nobody pulling over to help you ever. I have yet to see it. I've pulled over to help people and I'm like, roll my window down this far and be like, here, you can use my phone or do you need me to call somebody? Because of where I grew up, that's just something we do. Someday it may get me in trouble. I doubt it because I usually am protected. So we'll see. But anyway, so we got there pretty quick. We got home fairly fast for going secondary roads, but it was just beautiful. All the colors were starting to change, especially in Indiana. You could just see all the maple trees. They were gorgeous. I'm trying to figure out what I want to write on these bags. One of these days, I'll get big time and I'll just be able to type this stuff up. But I really kind of like I don't know, the personal touch of it, I write it out. So anyway, I did listen to Marie Emmerich. I listened to her talk, and most of her stuff I kind of think we're very similar on. There was a few things that just in my years of doing this, I was like, that's not what I see. And we all work with clients and see different things. Um, the main one with her stuff is she talked about the protein sparing fast. So where you're much lower fat, I'm not sure how much protein. I think she's got a calculator. If you want to go to her site, I think she's got a calculator that will tell you what to do on that. I will tell you, I've tried that myself several times. Um, and like I had a 2-year stall and I was like, I'll try that. That'll bump me out of that stall. And I did it for 3 weeks and I nothing. The only thing I got was extremely tired. My hair got brittle and started falling out. Um, what was the other one? Oh, and I had horrible constipation. It was like I might as well be eating a vegetable because I wasn't getting enough fat. And so in what I've been doing for myself and the clients that I work with, I have found that most all of the time higher fat than the protein ratio. Like I do 80/20 most of the time. Now there are times like on this, when we were at these events, I took butter with me, but I ate much higher protein to fat and I could feel it today when I got up and I did my sprints this morning. I was like, "Ooh, I barely have enough oomph to do this," but I forced myself because that's my personality. So that I was like, and there might be times where it's good to do that and change things up with the body. So, I don't fast every day 18 hours or 16 hours. Sometimes I'll do a 24. Sometimes I'll do a 30 some hour. I did 32 or 34, I don't know. Thursday, when we got to Louisville and we went to the Brazilian steakhouse with Russ. If you've never been to one, go. I mean, it's worth driving. I would drive there 7 hours to go again. Um, it was amazing. Um, so I would definitely do that, but I didn't have as much fat. And I always, we all at the table ask for, give us the fattiest side or just cut off some of that fat cap. I have to give a shout out to Charlie, which is Darth Carnivore. My husband is just like, I have never seen somebody. He goes, I thought you could put away a lot of meat. And he said, because he sat right across from him, he was just like, that's impressive. And of course, Charlie was one of the first clients that I worked with. And I am not by any way taking any kudos like I did this because he did this himself. But he's lost 180 or a little more than that pounds in the 2 years. So he's done amazing. I mean, he's changed his life, his health. So it was just nice to be with these people. Let me grab a new marker. This one has bit the dust. All right, let's see if this one works better. So, but it was just really a nice thing to see. Um, She is exactly like you would expect her, Marie Emmerich, like you see her online. I mean, she's just exactly the same, very nice, stuff like that. So, and she's very sciencey. So, she's a nutritionist. So I like that. I like the discussing different things. And like I said, the majority of everything that she said, I was like, yep, 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 yep. Because I've seen it. If I haven't seen anything and I go to these events, I mean, I take notes and then kind of would pay attention to that. But I've been doing this for a while, so I was like, I wanted to eat some butter while we were talking, actually. Um, let's see, Karen. I hear and see that Ketopalooza is a fantastic meetup, and is your yes. So Ketopalooza 2024 was my first meetup event. I would love to go back to like Indiana if Brett does another one at some point. But for doing another big event like this, it will probably be next year, but I absolutely will go to more. I I'm kind of strange. I love to debate, so I don't have to be around. I'm not that personality or I'd say kind of like the age of people that thinks that you have to be only surrounded by people that believe and eat and do whatever, church, political, none of that. I don't believe that I need to surround myself with people that have exactly the same ideals and that somebody else's ideas are retarded or anything. I'm just not that kind of person. Um, but yeah, I would love to go to more, but I do recommend that if you're doing this, especially if you're newer to this, I think getting to see the speakers talk and listen to them, and then when you mingle around with other people who are there, yeah, the stuff you learn, yeah, yeah, I definitely, and it's so funny. My husband's like, he goes, you evangelize even when you're not at work, because I do that with my patients, and because of course the first couple that I talked to when I was there, I wouldn't say they were elderly by any stretch. I think they looked in very great health too. I would say maybe they were in their late 60s. I don't remember. Um, but very nice. And it was a husband and wife couple. It was so nice to see. And they do keto. And I don't remember if she said how long she has done it or he has done it. But it was really interesting to get to talk to them to see other people who kind of eat the same way. But like I said, you know, um, we had people who do keto, we had ketovore, we had carnivore, lion, all that. So we had a little bit of everybody there in the room. I listened to the second speaker that I listened to. I'm going to mess up his first name. I'd have to go look at my card. He runs the company that does Keto Chow, and he also does like that salty, SALTT. Um, him and his wife were there, and he was one of the speakers. And I love his sciencey stuff that he discussed. Yeah, and he's just got a good personality, I guess. So that was kind of nice. And then up next was Dr. Barry. And if you guys watched the stream that I did of it, Nisha did get up to answer a question, but she went to the microphone that was down with the audience, not up on stage. Because I know somebody was like, I know that's Nisha, but I can't see her. The first video, I did 2 parts. I was holding the phone, and literally after a while, you just don't have that ability, and then Russ had a, tripod, so I put it on there, but I just didn't really wanna jack it around and make everybody feel sick. Chris, that's right. Yep. Thank you, Karen. You're exactly right. Last day of normal. Hello, how are you? I talked about you a lot this weekend. I ran into some people who had seen one of my videos, I think where I did the brisket, where I canned brisket. And so we were sitting there just comparing, canning things. And I was like, did you know you can can scrambled eggs and bacon or ham or hamburger or whatever you want together? And they're like, what? And I'm like, "You can." And I was like, "My everybody loves it. I mean, it's just so good." And so I sent them to your channel as well. So maybe they'll, subscribe to your channel too, so, and watch those videos. But I was like, "She's very preppy and, prepper and puts that kinda stuff out." So yeah. But yeah, that was funny. It's kinda I don't know, it's kind of odd. It's like you kinda know when you get especially if you get in an elevator with people, it doesn't take very long. I mean, it took 2 seconds for somebody in we stayed on the 11th floor of the Galt House, which is beautiful. Um, but anyway, they immediately was like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah," about farming and stuff because my husband had his camo hat on, and we're not farmers. But it was just funny that they, you know but they knew that we were definitely hillbilly-ish, type people, and was comfortable talking to us, so it was kinda cute. It was cute. And then if there's any questions that you guys have for me, just throw them in the comments and I'll try to get to them. Trying to think. I was gonna go mail a ton of packages because I had all these, orders come in while I was gone, and I was like, "Dang it, I like to send my products out the very same day or next day." It's just my OCD on that. And so I was like, "Shoot, I gotta find a way to get in contact with these people and let them know, like, I'm out of town. I can't get this sent out yet, but it's fine." But anyway, today is Columbus Day. So for those people who recognize that, so everything's closed, which is another reason I'm off work because the health department I work at follows all of the those type of holidays that you do for like your state and stuff like that. So let's see. Karen says I met Chris and yes, Miriam last meetup. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome for the sub. She said thanks for the new subs. I want to have a carnivore meetup when where we practice emergency outdoor cooking. I agree. I agree. Um, Something that I have told a lot of people that live in our smaller area is get you got these places where you see these brick places being taken down. I'm like, go ask them if you can get like 30, 40 bricks, 50 bricks, 100 bricks, whatever you want, whatever you can get. I'm like, get those, you know, um, because that's going to be cheaper. Now I have like outdoor cook stove that like I can travel with. It weighs like 6 pounds, something like that. And you can use wood, you can use charcoal, you can use paper, you could use uh, anything. I mean, you really could just whatever you can, but you can fold it up to take it to go. I'm not a run kind of person, so I'm probably never running from my house. Just again, my personality. Um, Unless there is no house left to be here. If something like that would happen, then okay, I have everything ready that I could go do that, but that's just not going to be my thing. Being a nurse, I'm going to be around to help make sure people are taken care of and not sickly and wounds and infections and things like that. Ooh, which reminds me, I got to put medication away. So my husband has a tooth that's been giving him trouble. So he was like, "Hey, when we go to Louisville," he goes, "I don't want to have anything, happen. Like, say, a tooth decided to really get mad on me because he eats sugar still." Anyway, um, so he was like, "Can we take some antibiotics?" He can take like penicillin and amoxicillin where I cannot, and so we did. take some of those, but I want to put those back in my prep kit. But yes, that's a very good idea. Okay, let's see. So Karen says, "You sound like my hubby with his orders. He got 2 orders while we were in Iowa." Yes. And I was like, "Oh, I feel bad." I just do because I really like this stuff to get out. I'm going to change up my formula this week on my lotions. Um, yeah, lotions and shave cream because it's starting to get cooler here and I don't want it to harden up. So I did have to change up the way I was doing it just because of being able to get it mailed out because it was so hot. I didn't want stuff melting on everybody. Um, all right, so let me go over some of the Dr. Berry talk in case you guys didn't see it. Let's see. Last day of normal, I cooked on a brick rocket stove this week. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, somehow, well, I mean, we know how Facebook, YouTube, and all those things send out those little reels and different things, shorts. They're always like prepping stuff, cooking outside. If you get stuck, you can use a walnut, pour this in it, and blah, 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 and make you a candle. So I have tons of those videos. And of course, I send them to my husband. I'm like, "Ooh, look at this. We could do that. Um, but it's nice to um, have those options in case, the crap hits the fan, and maybe it won't. Maybe, maybe things will go the right direction and God will win out because I think he should, but we'll see. But I'm going to do my part. So I'm back on Barry. He's hilarious. He is exactly 100% the same way he is on his channel. He is in life. Very cordial. Him and Nisha both took lots of private questions after they were done and prior to. Pictures with people that wanted to take pictures with them. Just very cordial and nice. But it was just funny because I don't know. I probably don't have the live streaming. I don't think I had it like set to monetization because he, I knew that he kind of likes to cuss a little bit like me, and I thought, yeah, I'll get in trouble. So, and he absolutely did exactly what I would have thought. But one of the biggest takeaways that I got from his talk was our children, and not just our children. When I say our children, the human race's children are at the sickest they have ever been. It's deplorable what we see, and we see it all the time, and it's so normal now. Like I drove past a junior high a couple weeks ago, and I'm not fat shaming these people or adults, but the children, I feel so bad because I thought I was that fat kid. So I was the standout because I was fat and 90% of the rest of my class, 95, they were normal size. This was in the 70s and 80s. But now you drive by a school, it's hard pressed for you to find the kid that looks like we used to when we were that age. I mean, they're just not there. And you see these kids where their guts are just hanging out and over their pants, and you're like, fatty liver disease. It's kind of sad. So he was talking about that, and he said, he goes, it's our job as people who have learned, how bad the food supply is, how bad the chemicals are, how bad the pharmaceutical companies are in bed with these things, how the even the medical system is, that it is our job to stand up for these kids. I don't know if you guys know this group. It was back in the 80s called Mike and the Mechanics. And one of my favorite songs to listen to them, you should definitely go look this up and watch the video. It's called Silent Running. And when he brought up, like, it's our job to help with these kids or our grandkids or our children or even other, like, don't offer junk. You don't have to offer junk. I'm not offering junk at Halloween at my door. Now, we don't get a ton of kids that come here. We're a little bitty town. I mean, I've taken dollar bills and gave them away. Um, Nisha said something about, stickers and glow sticks. You can buy those in bulk. And I was like, that's a good idea. And really, even at parades, like I give out toothpaste and toothbrushes when I'm with, the place I work for, when we would be in the parades. And there was only one town. All the towns we went to, they were just like, everybody was like, oh, that's a great idea. Thank you. One town, I remember a kid coming up and I handed him, a blue toothbrush and toothpaste. Not the greatest toothpaste, wasn't my tooth powder, but I could do that. That would probably be a good idea. But anyway, and he was like, "Thank you." And was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You'll thank me someday if you just go home and brush your teeth after eating all this junk um, that has been getting through it." So, but anyway, I guess one of the ways that you can do this, this is my subtle way of doing things. Like if I'm in the grocery store, like say my husband likes to buy Oreos, I literally, and he also buys these kind of things that are junk, like your little packet things, which are horrible. Yeah. Soybean oil, silicon dioxide. So that's an anti-caking agent. Anyway, so what I do at the store, and I purposely do it past kids and other people, I'm like, oh, maltodextrin, oh, soy lecithin, oh, soy this, soybean oil, oh, yum. I'm like, and I will say out loud, oh, huh, isn't that crazy, dear? I said they made those oils, these seed oils for tractors and lubricants for industrial uses, and now it's in our food. Isn't that weird? I wonder why we're all sick. Wonder why these teenagers have the most horrific acne you've ever seen. I mean, huge cystic acne. And of course, the first few times my husband's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, you know what I do? Because I'm not eating any of that. I'm not buying that stuff. I don't purchase any of it. We keep the groceries separate. If I do pick up anything at the store, I purchase mine, and what he purchases is his. So like breads and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not going to buy it. And yeah, that may be hard nosed, but that's what I'm going to do because that's what I stand for. I'm not going to buckle to peer pressure or what the status quo thinks is right. And so I really, when he was talking about that, I thought, yeah, just having these other options, stickers and things like that, just things for kids because they don't care. Their parents are going to eat half of their candy when they get home anyway. I mean, that's what my mom did. We'd get home and she would take all the black licorice uh, things. She would take anything that was like caramel. I didn't get any of that, which is good. I mean, that's fine. But it's most of this is going in the adults' mouths as well. So, but that's just something that you could do. Of course, the American Diabetic Society is something he's a part of. He talked about that, and it was really neat. He said he wouldn't tell us who it was, but he said somebody that was at the event that most of us would know had given him a check for $1,000 to go towards, the funding of this American Diabetic Society because you're going to be going up against American Diabetic Association, which just blows my mind that first of all they even have to do something like that, that they were pushed to do that because the recommendations by these organizations, I mean, at first I laughed when I first started seeing it in nursing, and they changed everything to my plate, and it was set up for a diabetic patient that I had, and I literally laughed out loud because it was like oatmeal with brown sugar, orange juice, and a banana. And I just was like, "What?" And I said, "Well, even if you weren't diabetic, if you eat this every morning, you will be diabetic, even if you're not. And if you are diabetic, what's that gonna do?" I'm like, "That's gonna raise your blood sugar, in turn, raise your insulin, which makes you insulin resistant. So all your cells are like, I don't, I'm not seeing you, I'm not reading you. So then your blood sugar still stays high, and then you get this oxidative stress where all your arteries and vessels and tissues, they get hard, they just don't stretch anymore. And yeah, it just yeah, kinda crazy, but it when I saw that, I just remember looking at the patient and I'm like, "You know what you need?" And this was before yeah, I wasn't even carnivore, I mean, it was keto at that point, but I remember saying, "You need bacon and eggs." Like, whatever happened to bacon and eggs? Don't you remember your grandparents eating bacon and eggs? And this person that was up there was in his 60s, so his grandparents, that's all they had. They lived on a farm. And I said, "And how old did they live to be?" And he says, "Well, my grandpa lived to be 98 and my grandma lived to be 99." Okay. Like, I don't understand why people can't see some of that and get that put together and be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense to me." So let's see. Oh, Karen says we get 0 kids where we live. Ah, I see. We probably get, I think the most that I've seen was like 15. And the first year, my husband gave away candy bars, and I was like, And then the second year, I was like, let's just do dollar bills. I mean, you're going to spend that on that junk anyway. So I thought, why not just hand him the money? That went over pretty well. And then he's kind of like gotten back into it. I'm not giving out candy. If he wants to, he can, and he may not. It was so funny. So when we went on this weekend, he didn't go to the events at the Ketopalouza stuff, listening to the speakers, but just with us hanging out in Louisville, so many people around that were keto, ketovore, carnivore, he kept hearing the same kind of information that he's heard me spiel for the 13 years we've been together. But then when we would go out to eat, it was like we were all carnivore ish at the tables. And then we would just get on these discussions, and it was so cool. We went to a Carrabba's so that he could have some pasta. And one of the like bus boys or waiter, I'm not sure what he was, nice kid, probably about 22, I think. And it was so ironic because one of the last things Dr. Berry talked about is how he had had these people, these boys coming to him, 21 and 22, already having erectile dysfunction from this blood sugar issue. And so it was just ironic. This kid comes up and he was like, I saw your order. Are you guys carnivore? And boy, we just evangelized him. Same with our server. And then the manager came out because I bought two me and Russ both got two 16-ounce ribeyes, and mine you could not cut through. Like, I literally got tricep workout just trying to cut through this. I'm sure it was the very end of the ribeye where all the connective tissue was, so I had to wait and get another one. But we really evangelized them. So it was kind of nice to see these younger kids. The manager was probably in her 30s, and she came out, of course, when the trouble with the meal. First time I've ever sent food back ever in my life, ever. Because, I worked in a food restaurant when I was a teenager. I know what they do sometimes, and I was like, can't be any worse than anything else. But it was just nice to be able to evangelize some people and think, you may not change somebody's mind, but if you can get in there and plant the seed, that's what I am so upset about doctors. That, yeah, I understand they're under the standard of care and they got to spiel the BS that the company they work for and the corporation, because it's not a healthcare, it's a corporation built on sick care. So I understand that they have to get that typed into your note. Well, they also type into their note that they listen to your lungs, your bowel sounds, and everything else. And I don't know how many times I've been where I'm like, no, you have to take that out of my notes because you didn't do any of that. And yes, I have requested that to be amended. But they put that in there and they didn't do it. So why can't they do this and speak something else? I mean, I feel like they could say, yeah, your blood is this. You could take this medication, but there is something out there. Maybe you should go out and do some research on low carb diets and how they help these diseases. Just go out there and look at it and then just keep your typing. But they don't do that because that at least plants the seed. And if they hear that once and then they hear it another time, maybe that'd be enough for them to go. And I don't know. I feel like it's worth doing, and I do it all the time. I had one patient that I went to that had open heart bypass, and he was so young, so young. I don't, was he 50? Let me think. I'm 53. I think he was 49. And I mean, when I read his surgical note, because I've been there, it's kind of as a nurse, I did the cardiac, and I just was like, boy, when I read like how his vessels worked and how they had like splintering of some of the blood vessels they were trying to use to go around, do the bypass, and they were falling apart because they were so rock hard. And I thought, this guy he is on borrowed time, like bad. And I thought, I'm not even going to say anything about healthy eating, quit smoking, any of that stuff. Because looking at his notes, I knew I was like, he's not going to, if he had 3 months, I would have been extremely surprised. And so I got in the home. And of course, you see the heart healthy honey nut Cheerios and I mean, all the things. And I was like, yeah, okay, can't help myself. And I just started going on. I don't think they took any of those things to heart, which is okay. They did listen, they did ask questions. But then, like I said, within 2 months of being discharged from home health, because he was doing better and it was time to go do therapy outside of the home, and his obituary came across. So he had had another, even though everything was opened up best they could, he had had another heart attack and died from that. So, I know Dr. Barry always says it's never too late if you can fog a mirror. But this guy, you just kind of had that gut feeling that it wasn't going to be a good thing. So anyway, I think that's the majority of what I want to go over. I'm not sure what product I'm making today. I've got the free time, not working and getting off work and trying to make stuff. I may make some more facial serum. Sold a ton of that. It was so nice I took my tooth powder, I took facial serum, and I had several people that bought that there. I took some lotion that Sandra had ordered because she lives, out of the country, so it's harder to get there. My post office still is like, I don't know if we can ship to Canada. I don't know if we can ship to here, just with all the laws and stuff. So, and the rules. So I'm not positive on that, but it's okay. So anyway, I think that's all. You guys probably don't want to keep hearing me jabber jabber. So that'll be it for now. I'm going to make some more products. I do have personal products that I made for somebody who actually lives somewhat local within like 7, 8 miles. And I'm going to go drop those off this morning, get that done. I'm firing one of my insurance companies and going with another insurance company today. I'm kind of excited about that one. It's going to be fun. I kind of like doing that sometimes. Sometimes you have to do that. Same with your doctor. It's not that you have to be arrogant to match their arrogance, but try to educate your doctor. And if they're not willing, you can stay with that doctor and just shake your head and be like, okay, but not, take the statin, not take this, not take that, whatever it may be. Or you can say, have you read the Jupiter study? Have you read this study? Have you went back and looked at the Ansel Keys study that is completely, once they had to release all of the information with a FOIA request, was shown that they knew 100% that it was a lie, that it was not the cholesterol. And have those options. So I will go to my doctor's office and I will have study print offs of different studies so that if that gets thrown at me, I'm like, because doctors love to read studies. They're going to listen and read that because they're geeky, and that's okay. They're nerdy. Um, More than what they listen to you most of the time, even when they see your health is just amazing. But have that kind of stuff with you so that you can have that discussion, or you could be like my husband would be. He's more passive, and he would just be like, "Yeah, okay, I'll take your script," and then he would never fill it. So that's what he would do. So anyway, I'm gonna get this stuff ready. At least I'll have all these packages filled up for the post office when they open tomorrow, right? So you guys have a wonderful day. If you think of any questions, or if you saw the live stream that I did that you feel like you missed something because it kind of went in and out a couple times, reach out and I will do what I can. And yeah, Cami, I think that's a great idea, which is her channel is Last Day of Normal. I think that would be a wonderful video. I think that would be great. So I'll keep sending people your direction so that they can see some of the stuff that you do. Let's see. Cat Diamond. We plan to move to Tennessee next spring. I hope to be able to attend Ketopalouza next year since I will be much closer. Yes, that you will love it. And I actually had, excuse me, a follower that once she come over, I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen your name pop up on there." Um, and she came over and introduced herself. So that was pretty interesting. Um, and I got a little grief from the berries, just about like doing the meaty Mondays because it's exactly the same time that theirs is, but that's okay. So anyway, um, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna finish getting these products ready to send out, and then the rosemary vanilla shampoo smells amazing. Of course, I love peace. I love the peace scent. Um, so I'm not sure. And then I'm getting ready when I get back. I'm gonna light one of my candles. It's harvest scent. Oh, it smells so good, and it doesn't trigger me to eat anything that's junk. So yeah. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. You can always like, share, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, you can do that. If there's somebody that you think needs some assistance, I'm always available. Not always available. I do work from 8 to 5:30 before I can work with side clients that I do, but on my website, which is just russellbrands with a Z.com, and I work with people there. So you guys have a wonderful day.